Hi, welcome to my CEO tour, actually episode number 10. I'm with Kevin Brown, CEO of Coraid. Hi, Kevin.
Hi.
So, Kevin, I've been at your office last year. I looked at Coraid. It's slightly different from a technology perspective. It took a while for us from the Tech Field Day delegates to get the point. But today we're here to meet you as a person. Kevin, give me who you are today outside being a CEO.
So I love technology. I've got a pretty interesting mix of backgrounds. I started my tech career in cloud building. I was in the early founding team of Victimi. So we were building the big infrastructure, the big scale out stuff. So one of the things that we invented was how do you build very large infrastructure out of very small parts, and then how do you then manage and automate that and scale that. And so I had that side of my career, but I also had working for, I was a VP at NetApp. I ran a virtualization company. We sold to Microsoft. So I actually am very fascinated with the intersection of what business and the enterprise needs for managing their data.
So are you 24/7 into technology?
Well, I'm about maybe 18/6. So I really love being in it, and in addition to working with my company, I also have done a lot of on-the-side investing. I've done advisory and board elements. So what I really love is identifying the technologies that are going to be quite disruptive, that are going to fit where everything is going, and be a little bit over the horizon. So I don't mind being a little bit different. I've always had people tell me, no, it will never work, every single time. And I love finding the things that really are going to fit into that change, and then educating the market, helping put the pieces together. And aside from that, my other interests include music. I'm a drummer.
You're a drummer?
I played drums for 35 years.
Wow.
And so I have a band. We perform out. And my daughter actually sings with us sometimes. Which is
fun. What kind of music?
Kind of classic rock from 60s up through 2000. We like to go for B-side songs that rock. So this is the one you've heard 25,000 times. You may have heard it 20 times, but it's an awesome song.
Okay.
We put our spin on it, and there's always some dude in the back room who's like, yes, just loves it. And so, we've got a really good set of guys in the band.
I actually had someone earlier on from another company that was also, he was a guitarist, guitar player, or how do you want to call it. And I'm going to ask the same question that I asked him. Your first song that you remember as a kid, what still sticks to mind? Something that, the first thing you really can remember from a song?
I would probably go with Crocodile Rock.
Okay.
By Elton John. I had a little tiny record player that only had one song piece, and my parents had that, and that was back in the early 70s.
It is an energetic number, right?
It's a great tune, but my dad loved Creedence, and so I grew up sort of in a little bit of that, but then he skewed country, which I never really went for.
I'm not much of a country fan either. Current favorite band?
Oh, that's a tough one. So there's some ones that you might expect, the Zeppelin, Rush, Cream, that kind of set. And then there's a set that I found on Pandora, for example. One of my favorite new bands is from Poland, called Riverside.
Uh-huh.
No one's ever heard of them. I'd never heard of them, but they're unbelievable. Another really good one from Britain is Porcupine Tree. So I don't mind finding, just like in technology, finding some gems that are really impactful. But those drummers have taught me more than years of lessons could, just in the way that they see the world and conceive it. And so that's something that there's a lot of overlap actually with people that like technology, people that like music. It's all about seeing the structure and seeing an evolution that happened to you.
Yeah, that's great. So you kind of like to look at things at the edge, right? So you say, I have some side projects, I look at music that comes from weird places or that are not that known. From those side projects that you have, is there anything specific that you can mention that you can say, this is something small I'm working on, but I like this, or why that you do that?
Well, what I've done oftentimes is I network quite a bit. I've got a place in my house called the Man Cave. We have a lot of entrepreneurs in, and we'll sort of just get together. We have whiteboards on the walls, and we just love to just support and think and help them. And it's great brain practice.
That's good.
Just be learning and thinking. Two, kind of paying it forward. I mean, I had the benefit of a lot of both great mentors and lucky breaks in my career, and so I want to help other folks. At UC Berkeley, that's where I kind of jumped over. I was in graduate school. I came in 1994. So this is right as the internet was starting, and I just got crazy about it. I made the first web page for the business school at Berkeley. I became one of, I was president of my class, and we just got so crazy about technology, and we ended up inventing technologies for our classes instead of writing papers and doing PowerPoints. And so we invented one of the first advertising engines before DoubleClick, before NetGravity, before BroadVision. We called it Audience One, marketing to an audience of one. It was one of the first marriages of database with business logic with the web.
What did you study in Berkeley?
So I was economics undergrad, business grad school. I was always very steeped in technology. So my job before I went to business school, I did economics and financial research for litigation. So these are billion-dollar lawsuits, and we were using a ton of technology. So I was programming in Fox Pro, we were using the mainframes at Stanford. We were doing very, kind of at that time.
You were a hands-on, but not. You were hands-on technologist, not studying technology.
That's right.
That's cool.
And so I jumped in, from Berkeley. Met the two founders of Ictony, and so I joined as the first full-time employee before I'd even finished grad school. And we ended up growing that to $200 million run rate. We went public, and so it was me and 12 parallel computing PhDs.
Wow.
So that's kind of like going to school in a different way, and learning on the job. So I love being around smart people. I love picking up those technologies and then making sure I'm just staying in the middle of all that.
So so Berkeley, a lot business focused. Give me the last 5 to 10 years of your professional career. What were the things that actually changed you being who you are today?
So, it was an interesting progression. I've been in the plumbers union for this whole time, last 20 years, doing first the scale-out web infrastructure in the early 90s, then going to security. So I worked on some of the UAV programs for the government, and ended up getting pulled into a security firm called Coraid, which we did storage security and encryption. And that was acquired by NetApp. So, I've been doing networking, sort of big web infrastructure, security, storage, and virtualization was my next company. So it's all the plumbing, and just what has really sort of led all of that up is now I've got a pretty good view of the stack. So I don't think of storage, I don't think of virtualization. I think of how do you fit that together into a system, and that's what is demonstrated today by Amazon. I mean, they are schooling everyone on agility, on scale, on costs. And so that's what has informed a lot of our decisions of, hey, where's this thing going to end? What's the end game of all of this plumbing? And how fast does it get there, and what order does it happen? So that's all of the chess game, I guess. So from a career perspective, I was CEO of this company, Coraid. So they were based in Tel Aviv. It was my first CEO job. And they had basically no employees in the U.S., no customers, no revenue, but very, very smart technologists. And so we built up the team in the U.S., did that out of my backyard a little bit, and got that going, and started winning customers like Goldman Sachs, like Fox, like Intel, and Microsoft came and swooped in. They saw that we could solve this huge problem for them. And this was how do they,
What was that technology about?
Desktop virtualization.
Okay.
Type 2 hypervisor.
Wow.
So that's now part of Windows. So here at the virtualization show, I've been to many VMworlds, and they're always great. And I saw firsthand how much in that computing and desktop layer virtualization is changing things, and that just led me to realize what was going to happen in the rest of the infrastructure. It was just obvious that we're working at look at compute, network, and storage, right? So compute used to be big iron from DEC and Silent and SGI, and that collapsed in just a very short number of years and turned into just a wall full of x86 servers, and you wrap it with virtualization technology. And that allows you to be very liquid. You don't have to manually do all the things you used to have to do. Just do it as a template. And that same thing's now sweeping down the commoditization and that virtualization into storage
And networking.
Yeah, and in fact, those all need to go together. People look at these in silos or just as layers, but in order to deliver Amazon, in order to compete with Amazon, because that's what your end users want. They want to click and not wait 17 weeks for people to stand up there.
Yeah, but you don't have to compete on the prices of Amazon if you deliver other SLAs.
That's an excellent point, although what's actually happening is that we're coming in at about half the price or a third of the price, total cost of ownership versus buying that service from Amazon. So it's actually possible to beat the economics with a flash-enhanced SATA, for example, and have a very resilient enterprise-class system. So it's a changing world today in storage. I think it's going to be a real pressure on the folks that aren't innovating.
Well, my point was it's not because you can compete with Amazon that you have to.
That's right.
Right.
So we are adding value. So one of the things that we've done with the company is really shift towards, we've grown up in kind of the Linux market and sort of SMB type things. We had technology that was very, very applicable to building large private or public clouds. And so what we did is we focused and we pivoted the company to really go pursue that opportunity. Because in the end, the small customers, if you have a few hundred employees, it makes no sense at all to buy a bunch of boxes and manage those and build that up. Today, you're going to NetSuite, Salesforce, Marketo. That's exactly what my company does. And we just see that. So 5 years from now, 7 years from now, you're not going to be having SMBs buy a lot of small boxes. No. It's going to be either big enterprises, where IT is very strategic to them, or it's going to be big clouds and SaaS offerings. And so we think the SKU of storage is all about you solve big problems. How can you make it simpler to do it with a small, fast thing? And that's a pretty different, that's a contrarian view if you look at where the dollars have been flowing. There's 35 companies that are all building similar kind of, hey, it's a flash array, it goes faster. And now we just launched our flash offering with 15 million IOPS per rack for $5 a gig. Mm-hmm. But you can mix and match SATA and SaaS along with that, and we believe that the way that you tackle these problems, hardware is rushing forward.
Actually, we're coming already to some recent things. What happened between the last time that I was at your office and today? What happened in the last 12 months with the company?
Yep.
And what was your involvement in those changes?
So as we've been seeing the opportunity to grow, we made a big bet on the cloud. So we said, hey, there's a bunch of these cloud customers that they can't go buy their old three-letter big name vendors. You can't compete on the cloud with those technologies really. And not everyone is going to write their own file systems and do it themselves like Google and Amazon. They just don't have 1,000 PhDs on staff. So there needs to be something that commercializes that and makes that available, that has economics that are very commodity, very scale out, but not just CapEx, OpEx economics that say I can manage petabytes and petabytes per administrator. And that's a big deal. That's not available today from most of your traditional vendors. And so we really focus there. And what's happened is that segment for us has grown to 30-40% of our business. We're doing multi-petabyte clouds all over the world now. So whether it's big video services, running a lot of the Netflix type services across the world, or if you look at infrastructure as a service, one of our big customers is the top cloud in Canada, Rackforce. Patriot Act. A lot of people aren't really seeking to send their data to the U.S. So that's been a big boon for them. All the people in Canada are looking to run cloud services, and we're doing that. So, Shutterstock's another good example. Tableau. These are very fast-growing, recently public companies that are very data-centric, and so we're really tailoring our business to go after. Hey, where are those fast-growing, next-generation cloud services? And then what we're also seeing is the enterprises, the smarter ones, in our opinion, are realizing that that's their competition as IT. If you're in IT, Amazon is your competitor.
Yeah. So, what's going to happen in the next 12 months? And I'm actually looking at the CTO's challenge within the company would be creating a new product. What is your challenge for Coraid, a personal challenge for the next 12 months? What can I pin you on for August 2014?
Yeah, well, one of the things that we're doing is we're completing that that shift in the company. So we're continuing to change up staff. We're continuing to launch the new products that are really adding value over and above the speeds and feeds. So we look at the data plane and the control plane. And so it used to be all about the data plane for how do you store bits and do it at a certain speed with a certain resilience. And that matters a lot. You have to get that right. But value is shifting up the curve. So think of it in virtualization, the hypervisor. The hypervisor used to be where all the value was, and basically figured out how you split up a server and handle it. What happened? It went to free. ESXi is free. And the value shifted up the curve to the control plane, which is vCenter, vSphere, that ties together tens or hundreds or thousands of these. And so the same shift is happening for us. We're investing very heavily in that control plane. One of the new products that we just announced is pretty groundbreaking. It's called EtherCloud Insight. What it does is it provides visibility end-to-end from compute network storage.
So you have to find actually some new people on the staff and trying to get them happy enough to stay on board?
Well, yeah, we're sort of looking at what are the customers that we're going to, what kind of problems are they solving, and how do we keep innovating at a very fast rate to go solve those big enterprise and big cloud problems. And so that's a constant talent challenge. And so that for us is you have to execute that change. You don't drop all your old customers, but you change some of the emphasis.
VMworld, we are in the small cubicles that we have to do interviews a little bit outside of the ambient noise.
That's right.
How important is the VMware ecosystem for you?
So VMware's been extremely important for us. We're very much in the enterprise. We have Fortune 50 customers in retail, in automotive, and aerospace defense. We're working with a lot of very large companies, and VMware is their platform of choice. At Rackforce, they are one of the top partners of VMware as a cloud provider. So we are doing tons and tons of VMware deployments.
How much of your deployments would be VMware?
Probably 25%. So it's a very substantial portion of our business. We also do big backup, big cloud, big video. But VMware is very, very important. And what's very unique for us is that we simplified the whole set of layers underneath it. We just look like virtual NAS. We literally look like your C drive. And that makes it very easy to provision and manage. And now with the additional flash performance and economics we're bringing, we can be a very good building block for building those VMware environments.
Okay. Kevin, thank you for your time. I think I'm going to hit the show floor again between the noise and all the crowds.
Let's go do it. There's a lot of great customers out there.
Kevin, thank you.
Enjoyed it.